Lawsuits, racism, SpongeBob, nudity, cults, Zoella, 9/11, these things all have something in common. One word that links them all together. Lush. My name is Atmos. I'm a content creator and a former Lush employee. Having worked there, I'm pretty familiar with the brand and, all of its stuff. And recently, I noticed a peculiar shift in the company. There's been a wave of collaborations with intellectual properties like One Piece and Mario, something that feels very out of character. I wanted to dive in and figure out exactly what transpired to lead the company in this direction. And when I did, I found out a lot of juicy stuff that no one seems to be talking about. So I'm going to start at the very beginning and run you through the entire history of Lush, walking you through all the highs and lows of this business that's been around for 30 years. So strap in. This is going to be a long one, but it's going to be a good one. Before Lush was Lush, there was Constantine and Weir. It was founded by Mark Constantine, a trichologist, who is basically someone who studies the hair and scalp, and Liz Weir, a beauty therapist in the 70s. They both had an interest in natural beauty products, so they came together and began creating products. Early on, they were making products for local salons, and as their business grew, they brought on Mark's wife, Mo, and friends Rowena Bird and Helen Ambrosian to help out. Eventually, they landed a contract in its early stages when it only had one location. They were inventing and producing products for the company, acting as one of their main suppliers. Over the next couple of years, the Body Shop's popularity skyrocketed. As their success soared, they weren't too happy with the fact that they didn't own the secret formula to most of their products.
Ravioli, ravioli, give me the formuoli.
In 1984, Anita Roddick, owner of the Body Shop, bought them out for £11 million, which, adjusted for inflation, that would be about £31 million today, or about $50 million US. With this buyout, she made them sign an agreement saying that they wouldn't create anything that would be in direct competition with her for the next 10 years. Now, they were a little sneaky and had a way to work around this contract. They used the money that they had made selling off Constantine and Weir to start a new company called Cosmetics to Go. Now, the key to this was that it was a mail order company. This way, they weren't technically in direct competition with the Body Shop, as they didn't have an actual storefront, so they were able to continue creating and selling products without breaking their non-competition agreement. In this venture, they began exploring ideas of pushing back against animal testing and understanding more fully where their ingredients would come from, values that would carry over to Lush. They were incredibly successful, which would unfortunately be their downfall. In July of 1994, they had unprecedented success, launching a sale catalog to make room in their warehouse for their Christmas stock. They sold out of everything in just 2 days. Their computer system crashed, the switchboard couldn't handle a large volume of calls, and they had to spend lots of money to hire temp workers just to deal with the sheer volume of orders. All of this chaos led to customers waiting weeks to receive their orders, and longer wait times equals very unhappy customers.
How much longer is it gonna be? I don't know, I'm not psychic!
When it came time for their next catalog, their Christmas catalog, which should have been the biggest of the year, well, things didn't go so well. Customers didn't think their orders would arrive in time for the holiday, and this huge downturn in sales ultimately led to the company's failure. All right, 2 companies down, 1 to go, and this time we are actually going to start talking about Lush. Now, in a strange twist of fate, Cosmetics to Go ended right as their non-competition agreement with the Body Shop ended, so they started a new company, and as we all know, this one kind of hit the slay button. Lush Cosmetics started at 29 High Street in Poole, but the company wasn't named that to start. They began as the Cosmetics House, an ode to fashion houses and the care and attention put into couture garments. They ran a contest for customers to name the new brand, and Lush was the winner. With 20 plus years in the industry and 2 cosmetic companies under their belt, they had learned a lot of it the hard way, and that would serve them well in the new venture. They came into this one with a set of values that later transformed into their We Believe statement.
We believe in making effective products from fresh, organic fruit and vegetables.
The finest essential oils and safe synthetics.
We believe in buying ingredients only from companies
that do not conduct or commission tests on animals.
And testing our products on humans.
We invent our own products and fragrances.
We make them fresh by hand,
using little or no preservatives in packaging.
Using only vegetarian ingredients.
And tell you when they were made.
We believe in happy people making happy soap.
Putting our faces on our products.
and making our mums proud.
We believe in long candlelit baths,
Sharing showers.
Massage.
and filling the world with perfume.
We believe that our products are good value.
And that we should make a profit
We believe in the right
To make mistakes.
Lose everything.
and start again.
We believe the customer is always right.
We believe that the customer is always right.
We believe that the customer is always right.
With these values in mind, they began to shape their brand and build their business. As business boomed, they expanded to other locations throughout the UK. Now we have some new major characters entering the story. Meet Mark and Karen Delaney Wolverton. Karen was a bikini model, and Mark was working for his family's brokerage, Wolverton Securities, with investments in apartment buildings, commercial space, bars, and restaurants.
Man, boo. Tomato, tomato, tomato. I'm throwing tomatoes.
On a trip to London, Mark and Karen discovered Lush and fell in love with the brand, its products, and everything it stood for. A year later, in 1996, they signed a license agreement allowing them to develop both retail and manufacturing of the brand for the Canadian market. They opened the first North American Lush location that year in Vancouver, British Columbia. From there, Lush kept growing, continuing to open new stores across Canada and the UK. They began expanding worldwide, with the first Australian and Croatian locations opening in 1997, Brazil in 1999, and Ireland in 2000. As the business grew, Canadian Mark and British Mark both saw an opportunity to continue expanding the business. In 2003, Wolverton and the people over in Lush UK entered a joint venture agreement to bring Lush to the US. So for those who don't know, like me, before I did this research, a joint venture agreement is basically when two parties agree to combine their resources to get a project done. Now, this joint venture agreement is very important because there's going to be a fun little lawsuit later, so remember that they've entered a joint venture agreement. By 2004, there were 66 Lush shops in the UK, and thanks to that joint venture agreement, there were over 205 stores across the world. But they still needed to spread the word about this brand new company. This early to mid 2000s time period is what I like to refer to as their stunt era. Now, since the very beginning, Lush has had a very strict policy on advertising. They don't do it. No billboards, no TV spots, no newspapers, no magazines, no nothing. They rely solely on word of mouth. Around this time, shock was in. Everyone was telling their friends to look up Lemon Party in 2002.
Should we just plug lemonparty.org?
Oh, yeah. If you want the filthiest thing you'll ever see, go to lemonparty.org.
Right now.
Don't do it, though, for real.
Don't go.
It's like three old guys blowing each other.
In 2004, the first Saw movie released, and it reached $103 million at the box office, becoming the second most profitable horror movie after Scream, and popularizing shocking gore and torture. All the cool girls were wearing bold insults on their shirts. Happy Bunny accosting anyone that came upon them with phrases like, "You're ugly and that's funny," or "You smell like duty." Shock meant attention, and attention is exactly what Lush needed. So, they started doing stunts for their ethical causes. 2006 would be the year that they pulled their first public stunt. This stunt was fighting back against REACH, a piece of chemical testing legislation in the EU. It started in October, with them sending cards to relevant members of European Parliament, along with a letter and a little bag of chocolate-covered raisins with a Lush tag reading, "45 million animals are shitting themselves over REACH." Taking it a step further, in December of that same year at the European Parliament in Strasbourg, when MEPs were voting on REACH, they attempted to dump 2 tons of manure outside of the building. Now, this one didn't go too well and didn't get much attention, but it kicked off a wild ride of activism stunts. They would serve to advocate for causes the company believed in, while simultaneously working wonderfully as a means to advertise Lush, getting the company's name in people's mouths. The next campaign was their 2007 Get Naked campaign, and where the first stunt failed, this one succeeded immensely. The concept was simple. On a sunny day in July, employees at multiple Lush stores would get naked and wear nothing but their aprons, standing out front of the store speaking with passerbys and going about their workday like this. This stunt was aimed at bringing attention to the amount of plastic packaging in the cosmetics industry, calling their products that didn't have plastic packaging naked, items like bath bombs, massage bars, and shampoo bars. This one had a bit of an environmental message, but it was mostly an advertisement for their products. As I said, this one got attention. Sex sells and all that. Realizing just how many conversations they were starting with these campaigns, the brand kept on going. Next year, they ran Fair Trial My Arse, protesting the illegal detention and torture of men held in Guantanamo prison who have been detained without trial or charge. This was the first time they introduced an exclusive product for a campaign, something that would become a common practice moving forward. This one was a bath bomb called Guantanamo Garden, and all the proceeds went to a charity called Reprieve. Now, the money for this goes to charity, which is amazing, but keep in mind, it does a little bit more than that. New products and these campaigns bring new customers into the store, folks who might have never shopped at Lush, and while they're already there getting a bath bomb to support the cause, why not get a bubble bath and also some shampoo and some soap? Of course, the bath bomb is the only item that goes to charity. They kept momentum going with these stunts and campaigns, so from this point forward, I'll just be highlighting some of the more interesting campaigns. The next campaign is some graphic imagery, specifically of body suspension piercing, so if you don't want to see that, skip forward to the timestamp on the screen. In August of 2008, Alice Newstead suspended herself from large metal hooks inserted into her skin, hanging from a metal frame in the window of their Regent Street location. This stunt was to protest the hunting of sharks for use in cuisine. Like the previous fair trial campaign, this one had an accompanying product called shark fin soap. In 2009, the North American branch of Lush had a go at creating some spectacle with their seal hunt campaign and stunt. With this one, they were fighting for the revocation of the marine mammal regulations in Canada that allow for seal hunting. Co-owner of Lush Canada, Karen Wolverton, got involved with this stunt, covering her body in red paint and laying on a Canadian flag outside of a Lush shop. In 2017, this campaign made the rounds on social media, drawing the ire of Inuit people for the reliance on the old clubbing baby seals trope. A page on Lush's website regarding the campaign read, "The hunt needlessly claims the lives of hundreds of thousands of baby harp seals, 98% of which are younger than 3 months old. Since 2002, more than 2 million seals have been killed, their soft white pelts sold to the fashion industry to create fur trim, gloves, and hats. We simply could not stand by while this cruel practice continued." The problem with this statement is that harvesting baby seals in Canada has been illegal since 1987. The misinformation is incredibly harmful to Inuit people. The campaign against seal hunting going on since the 1960s has caused sealskin prices to plummet from $100 to as low as 10 cents. When this campaign caught the attention of people online, they were rightfully furious. Lush responded to some of the backlash on Twitter before releasing a statement that says, "Our 2009 campaign did not oppose the hunting of seals by Indigenous people for food, clothing, or economic benefit. However, we have since learned that opposition to the seal hunt in any form is harmful to Indigenous communities in northern Canada. We regret that standing up against animal cruelty negatively impacts these communities." If you're interested in diving further into the misinformation campaign around seal hunting, I highly recommend the documentary Angry Inuk by Althea Arnukuk Bari, where she explores just how intensely campaigns like this have impacted and continue to impact Inuit peoples.
We have to stop the cultural prejudice that is imposed on us.
You have to listen to the people who have been the guardians of this earth.
2010 saw the wild stunts continue, with the Wheel of Misfortune campaign calling attention to all of the issues using biofuel. For this stunt, a store manager dressed up as an orangutan and was strapped into a giant wheel and had knives thrown at them. The stunt era of Lush ended with a bang. In 2012, the Fight Animal Testing campaign took shock factor to new extremes. Y'all thought the knife throwing and suspension was a lot? These are nothing in comparison to this infamous campaign. I'm going to give another content warning here for graphic imagery, specifically simulated torture. It's a bit hard to watch, so I'll only be including minimal clips, but if you don't want to see any of it, skip to the timestamp on the screen. This stunt was an endurance-based performance piece. Performance artist and activist Jacqueline Trade sat at the window of the Lush Regent Street shop for 10 hours, enduring a series of animal tests such as force feeding, head shaving, saline injections, and more. These acts were meant to simulate the experience of an animal being tested on in a lab. This shocking stunt, verging on torture, definitely caught the public's attention. In my research, this is the campaign that hands down had the most news coverage. Some of the campaigns, I struggle to find 2 or 3 articles, but this one, the search results on Google are filled with article after article from a variety of massive publications. The video of this stunt is also the most viewed campaign on the Lush UK's YouTube channel, sitting at a whopping 3.5 million views. The next most viewed video is sitting at about 900,000. After this stunt, Lush continued to do ethical campaigns, but they were more so just putting displays up in their store windows, no longer relying on those big shock factor spectacles. Their strategy of using shock factor had really worked, but they needed to shift away to more respectable campaigning in order to reach a wider audience. So without spending any money, Lush built brand awareness with these stunts. But that wasn't the only thing they did in the early days to sort of build their brand. The other thing that they did was, well, they started a cult. Okay, not really, I'm kind of exaggerating, but they built a cult-like following by selling more than just products. They sold a lifestyle. The brand had strong core values that attracted a certain type of customer, one that was already interested in veganism, animal rights, environmentalism, human rights, and all sorts of stuff like that. Customers could follow the ethical code set by this charismatic group of leaders running Lush, which obviously included buying Lush products, and they are guaranteed to be good people living a happy life. And oh boy, did they ever want to spread that joy. If you knew a Lushie, they were getting you Lush for your birthday, Christmas, and every possible gift-giving occasion. They loved Lush, and it was their mission to recruit you too. In the early 2000s, the internet was a thing, but it wasn't as much of a thing as it is today. MySpace launched in 2003, Facebook started in 2004, but social media was still in its early days. Dissemination of information on the internet happened mostly on blogs and forums. Lush utilized an exclusive forum as a way for their most passionate customers to connect with each other and the higher-ups in the company. Now, if you've never heard of an internet forum, they're basically an online discussion site where people can have conversations in the form of posted messages. Unlike chat rooms, the messages are often longer than one line of text and are at least temporarily archived. Think of it like Reddit, except for instead of everything centralized onto one site and divided into subreddits, individual internet forums were usually dedicated to unique topics. So you would have to go to the Beltree forum to discuss your favorite villager and flower breeding, Anime Planet to talk about the latest episode of Dragon Ball Z, and then hit the Lush forums to discuss the new limited edition products coming out for Halloween. Lush's forum was unique as it was run by Lush itself, whereas most other forums were fan-run. There was a UK-based forum that acted as the International Forum. It started up in 2002 with just under 300 members in a very bare-bones structure. They had just 3 categories: how do you use your Lush products, what is your favorite product and why, and your first Lush experience. It seems that at its start, the forum was more so aimed at Lush connecting with its customers to receive direct feedback online than for the customers to connect with each other. Just a year later, in 2003, when the North American forums launched, they had a much more robust setup with the following categories: a voice from above, a category where Lush would make announcements, product questions, rants and raves, store information, the cut list, updating Lushies on products that would be discontinued, work for Lush, and idle chatter. In 2005, the International Lush Forum reformatted and it is impossible to get into without a login, so I'm stuck looking at this weird doorbell page.
Let me in. Let me in, please.
But we can assume that they evolved similar to the North American Forum. As they continued, the forums continued to reformat and change, adding more categories and even more subforums to accommodate an expanding user base. From 1997 to 2007, the percentage of households with computers went from 36.6% to 69.7%, and household internet usage went from just 18% to 61.7%. This rising popularity of internet and computers perfectly coincided with Lush's growing business, which led to exponential growth of forum users. It brought a bunch of people from around the world with similar mindsets together, which at first glance is wonderful. But we have seen just how far being part of a group on the internet can go. When a group of people who share an interest in something gather together, it can create an echo chamber, making it easy to lose sight of opposing viewpoints. With new members joining the forum constantly, they mostly had long-standing members to take their cues from. The most vocal and active users were likely the superfans, those who had the most extreme love for all things Lush. We can assume that the forum acted as a space to radicalize the not-so-dedicated fans, molding them into superfans. Human beings are inclined to conform, especially in group settings. In the 1950s, a series of studies were conducted known as the Ash experiment, where a group of participants were tasked with matching the length of lines. Actors were hired to give the wrong answer, with the study monitoring the response of the actual participant and determining whether or not they followed the group. 12 trials were done, with the results showing that 75% of participants conformed to the clearly wrong answer at least once. Is the study perfect? Absolutely not. But haven't you forced your parents to buy you something because all of your friends had it and you needed to have it too so you could fit in? Have you ever just gone with the flow and said you've seen everyone's favorite movie just so you can fit in and not have to have it explained to you for the millionth time? Sometimes we change ourselves a little to fit in. It just happens. If these new members needed to go vegan, attend environmental protests, buy more bath bombs, or switch to using Lush shampoo to fit in, That wasn't a big deal. After all, buying from Lush was the right thing to do ethically, and it's what all their new forum friends are doing.
So if your friend jumps off a cliff, you're gonna jump too?
Another key element of indoctrinating people into the cult of Lush was the founder involvement in the forums. Yeah, sure, the brand had hundreds of stores around the world, but it felt like buying from a small business because you knew the founder of the company. Hey, they even responded to your forum posts, so you were definitely friends. For a lot of users, it was like God ascending from the heaven to deliver them the 10 Commandments. These users were incredibly devoted to the brand and revered the founders and anyone involved in the company. We have seen time and time again how people act when they make even the slightest contact with someone they idolize, and the brand having faces instead of just being an amorphous corporate blob allowed for Lush fans to focus their worship and praise on a real person. The company further incentivized forum use through forum parties. Higher-ups like ethical director Hilary Jones and other Lush staff would run forum parties a few times a year, and these parties would involve games and trivia with the possibility of winning prizes. During these parties, they would also release forum-exclusive items that could only be purchased then, retro items that had been discontinued, or brand new items like perfumes with the same scent as a fan-favorite bath bomb. By 2014, the UK forum closed with over 100,000 members, and in 2017, the North American forum closed with over 35,000. It seems in general the forums closed down due to the inactivity and the rise of social media replacing the forums. It is kind of bizarre that the UK forum shut down a full 3 years earlier than the North American one though, especially since it was the larger forum.
What? Oh. Okay.
There was one inciting incident that may have sped up this process. The forum community turned on Lush, and more specifically, Mark Constantine. Unfortunately, I don't have access to all the forum posts on this, but luckily a blog titled Mithering from Morningside has archived a good portion of it. A popular forum member posted about her experience with Mark Constantine. It's quite long, so I'll summarize and leave the link if you want to read the whole thing. She was getting divorced, her husband could afford a top-notch solicitor, and she really couldn't afford one at all. She explains that she had been friendly with Mark for quite some time, speaking with him often. She was in trouble, and he offered her help, setting her up with a solicitor who cost £280 an hour. He gave her some work at Lush that would give her extra income to be able to afford this expensive solicitor. She was entrenched in the forums, so she used her forum contacts to organize mail-order mystery shops and similar things. They were pleased with her work and knew she was a writer, so gave her opportunities to write for the Lush Times, a newspaper-style catalog that came out every couple of months. She received a phone call one day promising her a full-time work-from-home position with the company. She tried to get more details, but things were quite vague and wishy-washy. Eventually, she was told that there was no job.
Oh.
When she questioned it, they didn't say something like, oh, sorry, someone else filled the position. They gaslit her, telling her she was making the offer up. Shortly after that, she had a call telling her that there was no part-time work for her either. She spoke to Mark about this, but he told her he had no influence on these decisions and couldn't do anything. She was encouraged to pay for an expensive solicitor, but she then had no means to pay for it. So she went into thousands of pounds worth of debt, finalizing her divorce in the coming months. This post enraged her fellow forumites, those in this close-knit community who had grown to love and care for each other over the years. Many users up and left the forum and started boycotting Lush, refusing to purchase their products anymore. In Mark's response, he opens by complimenting the anonymous forumite, saying that she has the largest post count on the forum and has commented on many things, lighting up the chat with her intellect and sparkling writing. He then mentions a flirtatious and playful relationship they had in forum posts, citing it as a problem but then never going into details about it. He goes on to say that he consulted his wife Mo. She thought it was a bad idea to help. He says he advised her on a good lawyer and then handed her over to another manager as to not get involved too deeply in the matter. In early June of 2013, he also made a post stating that, over the next few weeks, I'd like us all to reach a few conclusions for the individuals here. Please may I ask that if you have a personal problem that Lush has not resolved, you write an email to steve@lush.co.uk. Please mark it forum. I'm looking for dreadful reactions such as in Joanne's case, ex-employees that are still bitter over the way they have been treated or any manner that is dealt with one-to-one. In the following weeks, Lush employees set up threads for people to list complaints, just for them to be ignored. They then announced that Lush employees would no longer be using the forum, and that going forward the forum would be moderated, something that Hilary Jones had previously promised that would never happen. And finally, when customers contacted customer service for more information, they were told that the forums were just shutting down.
Shut it down.
In a blog post about this, Mitherings from Morningside closed with this: well done, Lush. Well done, Mark. You had a fantastic loyal fan base, a fantastic sounding board, a fantastic source of feedback. You used it when it suited you. You flattered it when it suited you too. And through your own greed, selfishness, stubbornness, and stupidity, you destroyed it. The community will find another home. Bonds that strong can't be broken by anything as weak as you. You're the loser. So in 2014, the International Forum closed. The North American Forum held out for 3 years longer before shutting down too. Lush was changing. The forum that had worked so well for them didn't serve them any longer. Social media began to transform their business, and they didn't really need the forum anymore as they started to appeal to the masses. The 2010s is where we begin to see an absolute explosion in Lush's popularity. Get it? Because like explosion, because like bath, bombs, anyways. This was mainly due to the transforming landscape of the internet and especially social media. Although that wasn't the only factor, it was kind of a perfect storm that led to Lush's exponential growth. Lush was mostly alone in the cruelty-free camp within the cosmetics industry, especially when it comes to bigger companies. Cruelty-free cosmetics began to become the trend, with brands like KVD and ColourPop Beauty launching with cruelty-free as a major selling point. We can see this rise reflected on the Humane Society website, as they group their timeline of cosmetic testing on animals by year. They have section labeled 1938 to 1979, 1980 to 1999, 2000 to 2012, and then after 2012 they go by individual year, listing the month each change was made, because rapid changes were being made in the world of cosmetics testing. At this point, Lush had been doing it for a decade and a half, so there was no need to establish the cruelty-free aspect as part of their brand. That's what they were all about, and everyone already knew that. So while other companies were working to shift their formulations to appeal to these changes in the industry, Lush could continue to show off their products that were tried and true. YouTube and Instagram played the main role in boosting Lush's sales in the 2010s, though. Around this time, YouTube was a couple of years old. It had gone through its awkward growing phase of bizarre, one-off viral videos from random creators, and it started producing its own celebrities. Folks like Jenna Marbles, Ryan Higa, Michelle Phan, and Ray William Johnson laid the groundwork for the idea of what a YouTuber really could be. Their relatable, vibrant personalities were what people began tuning into every week. And in this era of YouTube, we start to see subcategories arise. There are pranksters, family vloggers, reactors, and most importantly for our story, the beauty gurus. It is in 2012 that YouTuber Zoella first mentions Lush products in a haul video. In this video titled Huge Beauty Haul with Louise, she and fellow BritTuber Sprinkle of Glitter go through all of their purchases from a shopping trip. They go through various beauty products, and in this 22-minute video, they dedicate a whole 4 minutes to the products they have bought from Lush. They are brutally honest, comparing one of the samples they received to the scent of feces, but they also rave about a couple of the products they have purchased. For Lush, this was gold. Hauls were still a relatively new thing, so a lot of viewers really trusted the suggestions of their beauty gurus, as most of the time they were showing off things they honestly purchased with their own hard-earned money. Zoella would continue to mention Lush pretty regularly across a couple of videos, but it wasn't until October of 2013 when she posted a haul video dedicated solely to Lush. This video currently sits at 3.2 million views, and is honestly such a cultural touchstone for this era of YouTube. Influencer culture was just starting out, and let me tell you, the girlies were being influenced. We were wearing our American Apparel trouser leggings, our oversized chunky sweater, Jeffrey Campbell shoes, and a statement necklace, and we were going to shop at Lush because that is what Zoella did. And Zoella was not the only beauty guru posting about Lush at this time. Popular creators like Juicy Star 07 and her sister All That Glitters 21, Ingrid Nilsson, Graveyard Girl, Arden Rose, the infamous Trisha Paytas, and Matthew Lush also created haul videos dedicated to the brand. Lush further capitalized on this popularity on YouTube by posting to their own channel more frequently. In this time period, they stumbled upon a video format that really worked, the How It's Made video. These videos were uploaded on the North American YouTube page and are some of the most popular videos on the channel. 10 of them have over 1 million views, and many of the others following this format have view counts in the hundreds of thousands. These videos were a perfect way to advertise without really breaking their no advertising rule. After all, they were just being transparent and showing how fresh and handmade everything was. If people ended up wanting to buy the products because of that, well, that was their prerogative. Speaking of Lush's YouTube channel, as the popularity of the brand grew online, they weren't happy with the fact that youtube.com/Lush was directing to a random guy and not their company. In 2014, YouTube updated their system, allowing users to claim an additional custom URL. The system reserved custom URLs based on a combination of factors including information from YouTube, search, and Google Maps. This new system automatically gave youtube.com/lush to the cosmetics company. The previous owner of this URL, Matthew Lush, and his fans were incredibly angry about his URL being stolen after he had been using it for the past 10 years, so they decided to boycott Lush, setting up a petition and taking to social media with the hashtag #GiveLushBack. He encouraged fans to visit local Lush stores, take a picture outside of the store giving it the middle finger, and then share it on Instagram, tagging him and the cosmetics company. While we're on the topic of Instagram, let's talk about how that platform had an even bigger impact on the growth of Lush. Instagram started in 2010 and changed everything for social media. Originally, the app was intended to be a location tagging tool like Foursquare, but its creators quickly realized that there was a gap in the market for a photo-based social media platform designed specifically for smartphones. 1 million users signed up in the first 3 months of the app launching on the iPhone App Store. With visual appeal at the forefront of Instagram, users who posted aesthetically pleasing content began to find success and grow their audience. So-called regular people began to realize that they could harness the power of the internet to grow a following and become their own type of celebrity. This was the beginning of the Instagram influencer as we know it. This sudden wave of people interested in creating a visually appealing online presence greatly benefited Lush. It was basically timed perfectly. Just a year after Instagram launched, in 2011, Nepo baby Jack Constantine invented the multi-layer bath bomb. On their website, Lush states that this type of bath bomb was copyrighted in 2012, but 4 multi-layer bath bombs appeared in a 2011 catalog before being copyrighted. Fizzbanger, Dragon's Egg, Twilight, and Miss Whippy all have multiple layers. Before this, bath bombs were a singular color throughout, leading to a pretty predictable experience in the tub. These new ones switched colors partway through, adding an element of surprise and creating a very visually appealing experience for the consumer. This invention played a pretty huge role in Lush's success on Instagram, as users would take a picture of their bath bomb mid-fizz and share it on Instagram. And the more colorful and swirly the bath bomb was, the better, because it made for a great photo. The next couple of years was kind of the age of the viral product for Lush. Now, this next little bit is based on my personal experience working for the company, but I did use Google Trends to back up some of my memory with actual real data. When I searched each product I remembered having a viral moment, I would see massive spikes in the Google Trends, which confirmed my memory. As far as I can remember, in 2014, Lush's Galaxy Bath Bomb was the first product that people flocked to stores for after seeing it online. The thing is, there is no product with that exact name ever sold by Lush. The closest is the Galaxy Lip Scrub from their 2019 holiday collection. I've had an impossible time tracking down the origin of this trend, but my best guess is that the original bath bomb was Intergalactic, which was an exclusive product at the Oxford Street location that opened in 2015 as the UK flagship store. It was/is their largest store in Europe, clocking in at a whopping 9,500 square feet across 3 floors, 13 times larger than an average Lush store. My theory is someone visited the store and posted a picture of the exclusive Intergalactic bath bomb, and then it just went viral from there. In June of 2016, Lush shower jellies were the next product to go viral. I found some articles from that time from Refinery29, Women's Health, and Cosmopolitan that all cited a viral Facebook video posted by Nailed It. This page no longer exists, and I'm guessing they had to change their name because of the 2018 Netflix series of the same name. All the articles have the video embedded and it's no longer available, but we can assume just from how it's being written about and how the internet works that the video fell into the oddly satisfying category. People saw Jiggly soap and raced to the stores to grab it. In my experience, this product was not very good, so it was really shocking to see it get so popular just because of the internet. A year later, in 2017, Lush launched a new product trying to combine their 2 trendiest items so far. It was the Jelly Bomb, a bath bomb with sodium alginate included in the mixture. Sodium alginate is extracted from brown seaweed and is most commonly used as a stabilizer or as a thickener and emulsifier for salad dressing, pudding, jam, tomato juice, and canned products. The video they released for the launch of this product is the second most viewed video on the Lush UK YouTube channel, sitting just shy of 1 million views at the time of recording this. They definitely realized the power weird products had in captivating the internet's attention, and from here on out they would continue to use this thinking to create and to sell products. In 2017, another product went viral. This was Sleepy Lotion, initially a limited release item for the 2016 Christmas season. But then the internet got a hold of it, and it went from a sweet, lavender-scented body lotion to a miracle cure for insomnia. One woman even claimed that it helped her 18-month-old daughter sleep up to 14 hours uninterrupted. I kid you not, I had to ensure I told people that lotion was not actual medicine and couldn't make any medical claims. It was just a soothing scent that might help someone relax. Because of the demand, Sleepy went from a seasonal product to a year-round product and continued to fly off the shelves. In response to the popularity, they eventually launched a 425-gram size, something that previously hadn't been done for any of their lotions. Around 2016, new shampoo bar was the most popular product, but not in North America. And not in the UK either. It was incredibly popular in China. At the time, Lush didn't have stores in China as Chinese law required animal testing on any cosmetics products that were sold there, which conflicted with what their company was all about. The shampoo bar went viral on Chinese social media. It's hard to track this down as I don't read or write Cantonese or Mandarin, but the trend was very obvious for us in stores. We would have people who are visiting from China come in to purchase large amounts of the shampoo, using their phones and showing us an image of the product for reference. A lot of the time, these people would not be buying for themselves, they would be buying for friends or to be resold to other people in China. Corporate attempted to set a purchase limit on the product initially as it grew in popularity. Very shortly after that, though, they realized the error of limiting their income and continued to allow buyers to purchase as much of their shampoo as they wanted. Then, in 2017, they relaunched the product with a new look. Where it had originally contained a piece of cinnamon, instead was a small wooden stick with #BeCruelty-Free printed on it in both English and simplified Chinese. That way, if people were going to resell it anyways, they could get their message out there about cruelty-free cosmetics. The final viral product that I'm aware of is the 2018 bath bomb called Goddess. This is an interesting one because the internet basically forced Lush to create this product. In 2018, Ariana Grande released the music video for her song God is a Woman. Just 15 seconds in, she can be seen bathing in a pool of spiraling liquid in very purple hues. A fan took to Twitter begging Lush to make a bath bomb that replicated the look of the music video. Much to both the fan and the cosmetic company's surprise, Ariana herself responded saying, "OMG Lush, I'll do anything." This sparked Lush to move forward with developing this product, publicly sharing sneak peeks along the way, with Ariana Grande commenting and reposting much of the process, which added to the hype for the product because it's Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
Lush was at the top of its game. They had taken social media by storm. This whole no advertising policy had miraculously worked out in their favor, with the world transforming away from traditional advertising and moving into a space where user-generated content was king. This love on social media, well, it didn't last for long. Trigger warning for racism, transphobia, violence, and death. If you would not like to hear about any of these topics, please skip forward to the timestamp listed on the screen. In 2020, amidst a wave of civil unrest surrounding systematic racism, especially police violence, Lush founder Mark Constantine posted an image to his Facebook of smiling police officers holding Lush gift sets with the caption, "As more folk get out and about, so the police are the people needing a bit of love and care." He posted this on May 26th, 2020, the exact same day as the George Floyd protests began in Minneapolis. This obviously drew a huge amount of criticism and backlash, with many people swearing to never purchase from the company again. This isn't the first misstep Lush has made, and I am quite certain it won't be their last. Right now, I'm going to take some time to go through all the times that Lush has been the center of controversy. There's quite a few. I know I went through some earlier, but there's even more to go through now. As part of the release of their Gorilla perfume range in 2012, they released a Lavender Hill Mob incense, inspired by the riots in London in 2011. If you aren't aware of these riots, they took place after the death of Mark Dugan, a local black man who was murdered by police on August 4th. During these riots, 5 people died and at least 16 others were injured as a direct result of related violent acts. An estimated £200 million worth of property damage was incurred to police vehicles, double-decker buses, homes, and businesses. A Twitter user took to the site in 2015 to bring attention to this product, and others shared their shock and disdain for what they deemed incredibly tasteless, especially since this item wasn't one of Lush's charity items. In response to this, Lush stated that their products are not just how we earn a living, it is our art, our form of expression, the tool we have with which to reach out to the world and have conversations and relationships. Speaking of perfume, there was the perfume Fantabulosa, taking its name from the Polari word for wonderful. The perfume had notes of banana, seaweed, and violet. This item was originally part of the Be Never line and launched in the early 2000s with the name Ladyboy. Ladyboy is a rough translation of the Thai word katoi, a term very close in meaning to transgender women, but it can also include effeminate gay men. This word is commonly used in Southeast Asia, and although a lot of people are fine with it, some are not. It seems that Lush chose this name in an attempt to be cheeky about the use of banana in their fragrance. There really hasn't been any backlash surrounding this product, and I think this is mainly due to the fact that it was originally launched around the time Kristen Siriano popularized the phrase hot mess. RuPaul released a song that shares the same name with the perfume, and society was at a place where using slurs was kind of cool somehow. Despite there not being backlash, it seems they realized the error in their naming of the fragrance given they changed the name on relaunch. On the topic of transphobia, in 2020, Lush came under fire for donating £3,000, roughly $4,000 to Women's Place UK. This money came to them via Lush's charity pot, an item sold year-round that distributes grants to grassroots organizations. According to multiple sources, the group's campaigning efforts are focused on anti-trans measures, with speakers at their past meetings referring to transgender people as horrible, hateful, misogynistic bastards. Lush issued an initial statement explaining a policy update about not funding work surrounding changes to the Gender Recognition Act. Many felt the statement didn't take enough accountability, which led Lush to release a second statement in which they actually apologized for the harm they caused. Next up is union busting. In 2020, employees at Lush's Toronto factory began organizing and went public with their union campaign in October. In response, Lush distributed 3 anti-union flyers directly to factory employees, warning them not to get tricked by union contracts that they have not read, stating that unions are a business that takes money from every employee's paycheck. After this was reported on by Business Insider, documents were issued on Lush's internal communication platform, The Hive, designed to send a broader negative message about unions to retail employees. This union-busting campaign included mandatory anti-union meetings and the interrogation of workers. Richard Bensinger, senior advisor for Workers United North America, stated that this was the strongest anti-union campaign he had ever seen in Canada. Lush has also dipped its toes into the world of NFTs. Surprisingly, they didn't face a lot of backlash for this, but I still felt it relevant to bring up because it's a major hypocritical yikes. In August of 2021, Lush first dabbled in the world of NFTs with a pop-up event in their Harajuku store. The event focused on the Lush Labs app, a project that is meant to work towards innovation in reducing packaging. It uses your phone's camera and AI to scan a product and then pulls up information about said product. For this activation, they were selling a unicorn poop box for 5,000 yen. This box contained 4 brand new physical products and their first ever NFT art. They launched this NFT using Zua,
whatever that means,
a company that basically makes it super easy for brands to drop NFTs with their software that requires little to no coding. If you aren't aware, NFTs are absolutely awful for the environment. A single NFT transaction takes as much electricity as the average home for about a day and a half. Some NFT companies claim to be carbon neutral by paying for carbon offsets, but as Twitter user Bleach Rainbow said, that's basically the equivalent of setting a house on fire and then placing a single potted plant on the burned property as compensation. On top of that, there have been huge issues with people minting stolen art. Needless to say, lots of ethical issues involved with NFTs. In May 2023, for World Bath Bomb Day, Lush announced on Twitter that they would be adding a new floor to their digital Lush house in Decentraland, a decentralized virtual reality platform powered by the Ethereum blockchain. Through this, they gave away thousands of unique free NFTs with artwork by Paloma Rincon, minted on a platform called Polygon that claims to be low impact. Honestly, I'm so done with this. Just absolute shenanigans. I hate it so much. And more people should be aware of this because it just is so surprising. It slipped under the radar that Lush is dealing in NFTs, something that is notoriously awful for the environment. Now, speaking of stuff that no one knows about, this video essay took me about 2 or 3 months to write, and so I did a lot of deep diving while researching it. In my research, I found this YouTube video posted by an employee in 2011 that absolutely shocked me. At the time I found the following video, it had maybe 30 views. And we can assume just by the looks of it, it was taken and posted by a worker in one of the Lush factories. So without further ado, here is probably the most shocking thing I found during this entire research period.
Are you ready? I think I'm ready. You ready? All right, go. Okay, go. The terrorist. All right, let's do it again. Yes, let's do it again. The terrorist. All right, let's do it again.
So, a 9/11 joke on what I'm guessing is company time, and if not company time, company property. Obviously, isn't fully on Lush as a company to take responsibility for this, but it's definitely not a good look that their factory employees were making jokes like this and posting on the internet, and I'm very surprised that it has not been taken down or noticed before this. And that concludes our major yikes portion of the video, where we go through all the scandals of Lush. In November of 2021, Lush announced that they would be quitting social media, deactivating Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat accounts. They did so in response to Facebook whistleblower Frances Haugen releasing documents including information that led to allegations that Facebook knew its products were damaging teenagers' mental health, were fomenting ethnic violence in countries such as Ethiopia, and were failing to curb misinformation during the January 6th Washington riots. The company knew this was a risky financial move. Mark Constantine even stated he was happy to lose $10 million by quitting Facebook, as it was the right thing to do as an ethical company. But without social media, Lush's bread and butter, how would they continue to draw in customers? Before getting into the new strategies Lush is currently using to sell products, it's pretty important to talk about the huge lawsuit that happened right around this time. This lawsuit led to major changes within the company that played a pretty big role in the shifts of marketing strategies. In July 7th of 2020, Lush filed a lawsuit claiming that Mark Wolverton and his companies had been funneling money from Lush US's operations in Canada under the guise of management fees. Furthermore, they alleged that he denied them access to Lush US's financial information, justified by the fact that US finances were intertwined with Lush Canada. Lush Canada operated under a separate company, one which Lush had no power over. They accused him of purposely using one accounting team for both companies to entangle the expenses, making it hard to decipher which corporation was paying for what expenses. This isn't the only lawsuit filed against Wolverton. Casa Margarita Enterprises Limited filed a lawsuit in 2019 alleging wrongdoings by Huntley Investments Limited, a company that Wolverton is the president of. In the lawsuit, they claimed that regular audits weren't performed and rapidly increasing management fees were paid to other companies controlled by Wolverton and his family members.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Shortly after the Lush lawsuit was filed, Lush petitioned the BC Supreme Court to step in and aid them in settling their dispute. They described Wolverton as uncooperative and difficult, rejecting Lush's brand decisions and their input into corporate decisions. They alleged that the current board of Lush Canada was experiencing deadlock, leading to issues with simple tasks such as appointing a new chief financial officer. They claimed that they had attempted to appoint a second board director for Lush Canada, as Wolverton was the only director when there were intended to be two. They tried to nominate a qualified female director, with Wolverton refusing to accept their nominations. Instead, he suggested multiple white male candidates, something Lush disagreed with as they wanted to have a more diverse board composition. If the court did not order a solution to the board's stalemate, Lush stated that it wanted the court to either order that Wolverton be removed from the board, that Lush would be able to buy all of Wolverton's shares in Lush Canada, or that Lush Canada be dissolved. In early 2020, a buyout was finalized, with Lush paying $180 million Canadian upfront and $20 million in deferred payments to take over the North American branch of the company. So, as you can see, pretty major shift in the company. That, paired with the global pandemic and the online criticisms, Lush was in need of some new ways to bring positive attention to their brand and bring in some new customers who maybe didn't know about the controversies. One of the major changes that was honestly one of the reasons why I started researching this video essay was that Lush seems to have changed their stance on no advertising. I was scrolling through YouTube, I clicked on a video, and before it played, an ad played. And that ad was for Lush, which, knowing their very strict no advertising policy, really shocked and confused me. And then as I started researching all of this, I kept on getting Lush ads. On YouTube, in my email inbox, I was inundated with Lush ads. So it seems they've gone from, we do not do any advertising, to, yeah, you know what? We need to do advertising to keep up. Other than utilizing more traditional advertising, Lush entered the 2020s in what I like to call their collab era. Now, much like their PR stunts, a lot of their other collabs in the past have been really all about supporting and bringing attention to causes and charities that they believe in. They had really only, before 2020, done one collab with like a brand. This was in 2013, when legendary designer Vivienne Westwood paired with the cosmetics company to make Knot Wraps, Lush's cloth alternative to wrapping paper, with a message aiming to start a climate revolution and wake consumers up to the environmental crisis at hand. Even when collaborating with a fashion brand, the focus was on charity and activism, similar to all their previous collaborations with charities for products like Gay is OK soap or the Badger Bath Bomb. Technically, they did collab with ASOS in 2021, but there weren't any new products created for this. They just sold some prepackaged bundles of various Lush products. This led to quite a lot of backlash from the Lush community, calling the company out on partnering with a fast fashion brand with questionable ethics. In September 2022, everything shifted. For their first official collab with brand new products created solely for the campaign, made for profit and not for charity, they partnered with One Piece. It feels kind of odd, but One Piece is a titan in the world of anime and manga, being one of the longest running series in both mediums. With the manga running for 26 years at the time of recording this, and the show running for 24, a lot of people like me grew up on it. If you watched my previous video essay, you know all about how nostalgia can make a company a boatload of money. Nostalgia may be a factor, but I think there's another element to consider. A lot of the fans of Lush are turning away from the brand for a variety of reasons, so the company needed to work on shifting their demographic and broadening their horizons. The demographic for One Piece definitely skews mostly male. After all, it is a shonen manga, a piece of media aimed specifically at adolescent boys. In a poll run by fans, with almost 5,000 votes, it was found that approximately 80% of One Piece fans were male. By partnering with One Piece, Lush aimed to get a whole new group of people buying their products. And who knows, maybe if these new customers enjoyed the limited edition products, they might come back for more in the future. Hey, even if that wasn't the case, they still got that huge boom in both sales and free advertising. Just looking up Lush One Piece on TikTok brings up videos with hundreds of thousands of views. Despite not being on social media anymore, they continued creating products that would get people buzzing and doing that advertising work for them. It might not be the most creative or unique way of capturing the internet's attention, but it worked. With the success of the One Piece collab, things snowballed from there. I'm going to show you every single brand collab that they've had since. If I miss any, please let me know in the comments, but honestly, by the time this video comes out, it's already going to be outdated because they launched 2 new collabs in the middle of me writing the script, and by the time I edit and post this, they'll probably have launched 2 more.
You're joking. Not another one? Oh, for God's sake, I can't stand this.
Just a month later, in October of 2022, Lush collaborated with Poetry Pharmacy. It's a cafe/shop that offers like poetry consultations and then prescribes you with poems that come in little pills. Girl, I don't know what this nonsense is, but they worked with Lush to create 3 different bath bombs that have poems on a piece of paper in the center that you could read in the bath when your bath bomb had finished fizzing. Next came Lush's collaboration with Stranger Things. Only available on November 6th, 2022, they released the Hellfire Club bathing duo that consisted of 2 bath bombs and matching collectible cards that can apparently be used in a game of Dungeons & Dragons, just like in the show. But I simply cannot figure out how you're supposed to use these in a game of D&D. I played the game, and we haven't used cards for stuff, but I did look it up, and there seem to be cards that folks play with as a helpful kind of resource for spells, items, NPCs, monsters, just like a quick reference guide. And they all seem to be double-sided with an image and a name on the front and some more detailed information on the back, which, you know, it makes sense and they're pretty useful. But these Lush cards, on the other hand, they're single-sided and the info on the front doesn't really help a whole lot tell you what the card and the item does. I even consulted my friend who has been my GM and he is a D&D pro, and he said, and I quote, "I have absolutely no idea what they're for." So it feels kind of like they were making a, ooh, look at this thing, without really thinking about the follow-through. Later, in November of 2022, they launched a collaboration with Lazy Oaf, a British fashion and lifestyle brand founded in 2001, known for its playful patterns. For this collab, Lazy Oaf created pajamas, socks, a tote bag, hand towels, washcloths, and a toiletries bag. Lush created new bath bombs, soaps, shouters, and a new fragrance. It seems that the Lush side of things with the bath products sold out relatively quickly, but a year later there are still Lazy Oaf clothing items available on the Lush site. Fast forward to March of 2023, where Lush announces a collaboration with Nintendo and Universal Pictures to celebrate the release of the new Mario movie. This had genuine fans excited about more ways to celebrate their love for the red and green plumbers, and other people on the internet primed to make jokes about piss water and bottled gooey.
No, don't turn me into a hat.
Either way, serious or joking, this got a ton of attention. It was a major collab, timed perfectly, and it got a lot of people talking about Lush again. In June of 2023, they launched a collection collaborating with the new Wes Anderson film, Asteroid City. This launch consisted of a couple of products, some very Wes Anderson promo shots, and a pop-up shop in London where free slushies were served along with a chance to purchase the collaboration items before they went up for sale online. At this point, I was a good way through researching, and they announced this, and I just thought, why? Just why?
You did this for what?
Why not?
Why?
Why not?
Why though?
Next, Lush collaborated with SpongeBob SquarePants in March of 2023. This SpongeBob collab dropped sort of in two parts. The first was through the Lush Kitchen subscription box, and then the second was through items that were for sale online and in stores that anyone can purchase. So what is the Lush Kitchen, you may ask? And I'm glad you asked because, again, we're going through the entire history, so I will tell you. In 2014, Lush introduced the kitchen as a means to highlight how fresh and handmade their products were. Starting the week of April 1st, 2014, a small team would work to make small batches of old retired products or sneak peeks of brand new items. The menu for the week would be posted on Instagram with different products launching each day. They were put online and only available to order through the UK website. And once they sold out, that was it. In 2017, after only 3 years, they shut down the Lush Kitchen in this format, reopening it 3 years later in 2020 as a subscription box instead. With the new subscription box format, customers pay a flat fee, and then they get 5 to 6 exclusive products sent to them each month. For the SpongeBob collaboration, the month was themed after SpongeBob, and so they got some old Lush products and some exclusive products that were themed around SpongeBob. The next collaboration Lush did was with something called Glitterbox. It's like a rave art thing, and they did... Listen, I'm giving up at this point. You can Google it. It's fucking Lush X Glitterbox. Here's the products. I don't know what to tell you. And then also there's Barbie. There's Lush X Barbie because everyone's doing Barbie because the Barbie movie came out. And so also there's Lush X Barbie. So what exactly does the future look like for Lush? Well, Lush is currently in their collaboration era. Based on their previous stunt era that lasted from 2006 to 2012, we have quite a few Lush collabs ahead of us. I mean, with capitalism and our current state of media, that's kind of where we're at. We have a bunch of remakes, reboots, everything that is new is based on a franchise. So I wouldn't be too surprised if for at least the next couple of years, we see a lot more collaborations coming from Lush. Now, I mentioned NFTs earlier, and Lush seems to also really be interested in getting into the tech game. Right now, they are working on building something called the BathBot, which is basically a water bathtub speaker and light display thing. They seem to think it's very revolutionary to have a waterproof speaker. So that's also a thing. Sure. Yeah, that's it. Now, not to get morbid and dark at the end of the video, but the median age of death in the UK is about 82 years old for men, 85 years old for women, and currently all the founders of Lush are around their late 60s, early 70s. So I think it's reasonable to assume that within the next 20 or so years, we'll see Lush without its original founders. Obviously, they've already started bringing on some family members like Jack Constantine, the son of Mark and Mo. But, I mean, with the founders gone, it will be really interesting to see just how the company shifts and changes without their guidance. But again, who knows? This company has been unpredictable since day one, so there's really no telling exactly what direction they'll move in. And that's how we went from this to this. Now, Lush has always been about spectacle. From these big PR stunts, flashy bath bomb pictures on social media, big brand collabs that all have us turning our heads in confusion, it is always about grabbing your attention. And even though they hit their peak in the mid-2010s, they're still around and they're still making a butt ton of money every year. They reported that they made about 836,000 Great British pounds in 2020, which is about $1 million US. So I'm no expert, but I have a feeling they're going to be around for a while, doing some wild things to keep their names in our mouths. And that's it. I hope you like this. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure before you go to give this a like, write a comment down below if you are a former Lush fan, a former Lush employee. Please spill the tea. Also, I apologize in advance if I missed anything. My brain is mush now. This video took months to make, so please, if I forgot anything, yell at me in the comments as well. You can find me on Twitch 4 times a week if you want to chat some more. You can find me all over social media. I'll leave everything down below in a link. Make sure you're subscribing to catch the next video, and I'll see you later. Bye!